Hello, hello, hello. This is Adrienne Berg, and this is The Ageless Traveler. And today we're going to be talking about something that you talk to me about all the time, which is culinary experiences, and something a little bit offbeat, agricultural experiences. But I call them adventures. So how can I present to you something that's more than a meal, even more than a great meal? Well, I'm doing it because I have today with John Fritsch. Now, he is both the owner, the executive chef, and the manager of Elevated Experiences. You'll understand exactly why he names this company that in a minute. You say, well, wait a minute. He's an executive chef. I'm sure the meal is great, but why is it an adventure? Okay, John, you are on. How do you get to your restaurant's Peaks and Pines Café and the Lookout Lounge? How do you get, before you even get to see a menu, you have an adventure?
Yes, in order to get to my restaurants, the Peaks and the Pines Cafe, you have to go up the Palm Springs Aerial Tramway. So you're going to go up to 8,516 feet above the desert floor of Palm Springs.
Right. And you're going to do it on a cable car, basically a tram. In itself is very exciting. How many climate zones do you go up there? It's a number of climate zones.
Yeah, we go through 5 different climate zones from the desert valley to the top of the mountain where our restaurants are located.
So, of course, the main thing then is once you get to any of your restaurants, you have the view of a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Absolutely so. So give us an insider hint and tip. Let's say we're going to the Peaks. What table should we ask for? Or are they all good?
Well, they're all good tables, but there are some special tables. I always like the second and third level because it is a tiered restaurant. So there's a bottom level, a middle level, and a top level. So I would always ask for tables on the second level in the 30s or anywhere in the 40s, which is the third level. And those have the best views because you'll be looking down on the tables that are by the windows.
And it's very beautiful. And not only can you see the beautiful mountains around us and the valleys around us, but you can also see how the cable car works. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely an adventure.
So now we can talk about the menus. Now, these are 3 restaurants. And anybody who makes that journey has their choice. But they're very different restaurants, very different vibes and ambiances and even menus. So tell us a little bit about each, and then we're going to concentrate on the one I love, which, of course, is Peaks. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll start with the Pines Cafe, which is our more casual cafeteria-style restaurant. It's more of a grab and go, so you can grab slices of pizza, sandwiches, chicken tenders, things for the kids. Has beer and wine, sodas. But it's definitely more of a grab and go, and then has a larger seating area in the Pines Cafe. And that is right in between Lookout Lounge, which is our main bar, which is also on the 3rd level here, where you can get our seasonal cocktails. And it also has the Peaks menu available at the Lookout Lounge. So it's a great place to have a seasonal cocktail and look out over that breathtaking view.
Absolutely. I do want to mention that we'll be having a wonderful article about the tramway itself. So when you get up on the tramway, as I always do, you hike or you walk or you go on a wonderful, about an hour and 15 minutes, really guided walk with a volunteer ranger. So I noticed that a lot of people go to the cafe, to the Pines Cafe, and they take the food out. They sit in the beautiful pines and they're looking at nature, and they're eating some of your takeout food. So that must be, as you say, the go restaurant. You can sit there. It's lovely, by the way. I wouldn't call it a cafeteria. It does not come to mind at all. It's more like a lodge, I would say. In fact, when I got up there, it reminded me very much of one of my favorite restaurants in Utah, in Snowbird, where you go up the mountain for skiing, and you go to a lodge like that. But a lot of people do take out the pizza and so on. Or if you're a hiker or a climber, you can get your food there first. Now we go to the main event for me, because this Peaks, this is a world-class restaurant. So tell us about that.
Yes, the Peaks restaurant is our main fine dining restaurant up here on the mountain station. It's definitely the higher end restaurant for up here on the mountain. It has seasonal menus. It's been voted number 8 restaurant in the world for cliffside dining by Architectural Digest.
Yeah.
And so, it's a great place to come see the views day or night, or maybe come up and try the seasonal menus and check out the view day and night. It's completely different completely different views.
Now, what are the hours there? Because you have some beautiful sky there too. You know, the Great Mountains, beautiful sky. And you also have lunch and dinner. So it depends on when you go as to what you're going to see out the window. Tell us a little bit about the lunch menu that is typical and a couple of your favorite, the dinner menu.
Yeah, for lunch, we're open from 11 to 4. That's more of a lunch style menu, which has we have our custom blend of burgers, salmon.
Wait, don't go any further. What is a custom blended burger?
Well, our burgers, they're 8-ounce, but it's an equal part of chuck, brisket, and short rib that is ground together. So it's not just a chuck patty. It's got that brisket, so you get that extra flavor from the fat of the brisket. And then that's the equal part of chuck and short rib. So it's a very good mix of flavors for a burger.
Beautiful. And of course, beautiful service there. So if you want, and you have a lot of very interesting cocktails. It's one of the most interesting cocktail menus I've seen. Tell me about your favorite.
Well, we just came out with our, it's a seasonal menu also. It always changes, but my favorite right now is probably the matcha lavender, which is it's a fantastic drink, great color. And there's also the lychee cocktail, which is very fantastic. They're beautiful drinks with flowers and the candied dragon fruit garnishes. So it's definitely cocktails that you would not expect at a place like this, because we're not a tourist trap restaurant. We're a family-owned business that takes pride in everything that we do. And our name is Elevated Experiences, so it has multiple meanings up here at the Tram. We're not only elevated well above the desert floor, but we want the experience up on the mountain to be elevated also.
And I wanted to say this to grandparents, being a grandma of 2 kids that have been eating out from the minute they were born practically. This is a very good place to take children. The children at the Peaks were so well behaved. It was so clear to me that they really were aficionados of restaurants. Every one of them, starting around age 5 up to about 15, had the best manners, knew exactly what to order, and they were really ordering. So you've got mocktails for them as well. I noted that on the menu. Everything is beautiful you do. Now let's go to my favorite, which happens to be the duck and the salmon. So let's talk about the dinner menu and those great kinds of entrees for people who may not be meat eaters.
Yes, we do have some great dinner options. It's definitely an elevated experience. It's more higher end than the lunch. So we'll have items like the half roasted duck, the salmon, and my personal favorite is the Colorado rack of lamb, which is a much larger tenderloin than like a New Zealand or Australian rack of lamb. And it's got much more flavor and very, very breathtaking to look at dish. We also have a porco sobuco, and then, of course, the salmon. We have a vegan coconut curry that we also have. And of course, we have the steaks like ribeye and filet mignon.
It's very beautiful. I love the duck, but my husband did have the lamb, and that was one of the best things that he said he ever had.
Yeah.
So that must be number one. All right. So it's a beautiful experience, but I want to ask you a different question. Much more of a question of orientation. We're going to be having on this show several people that are local to Palm Springs, but they run farms. And they talk about agriculture and the relationship between local agriculture, fresh food, and the local restaurants. How do you see that? And how do you see your role in creating beautiful presentations with fresh foods for folks?
Yeah, all of our food, all of our vendors are all family-owned businesses. I grew up in Ventura County, so I have a very good relationship with not only the farms out there, but the farms out here also. Because, of course, we're going to incorporate items like local dates and things in our menus. So everything is local, organic, whenever possible. And I also, knowing a lot of the farmers, I'll go and inspect our own farms and see exactly where my produce is coming from. And just so I can see the quality, how it's harvested, and if it's up to the standards of the tramway.
So I want to tell everybody listening, that John Fritsch is certainly an expert. He's an expert in running restaurants, selecting foods, creating menus, and he's also an executive chef, which means that you have the right to ask him questions, and he will know the answer. So please do not hesitate. We do have for you on the show notes, not only every place you can find and link into his restaurants, but also fanlist.com. Take a look at that /ageless traveler. if you've got questions for him, I will be able to get those questions answered. For example, if you are going to a restaurant somewhere else, he may very well know what this dish is all about, what it means, whether it's right for you. So let's know. And we come back, I want to build on that. I want to talk about trends, culinary trends. And I'll set that up in just a minute. But those of you who love culinary travel, and the minute you think of going to Europe, you think of sitting down at a table, not necessarily seeing a cathedral or the Taj Mahal or the Empire State Building, but you want to eat. We're going to talk about culinary trends in travel. Don't you guys go anywhere. We'll be right back. You know, for many years, I had a radio call-in show, almost about 20 years. I'm very used to hearing your questions and answering them. And if I can't do that, I have a battalion of experts who can. Do you have questions about travel, about volunteering, perhaps just about volunteering, or even your next step in life after retirement? Well, if you have those questions, please ask Adrian. Very simple to do it. Go to fanlist.com/agelesstraveler. That's fanlist.com/agelesstraveler. You'll see it in the show notes. And ask me by text, by voicemail. It's free. We will get back to you. And if we get enough questions, we'll start to live stream and you'll be able to ask me on the air. fanlist.com/agelesstraveler. And now we're back again, as promised, with John Fritsch. And if you know that he is a great expert in running restaurants and owning restaurants. He's an executive chef. His company, Elevated Experiences, has done a phenomenal job in Palm Springs, which is, frankly, a tourism mecca. It is a tourism mecca. People come here on vacation or they're here for half a year. So they do look at restaurants as their resource for eating. Many people actually eat out almost all the time. So you are very in touch with trends at the Peaks restaurant, which is your high dining restaurant, at Pines Café, and of course, even at the lounge. What's trending? People who are listening to this show, they're veteran travelers. They've been around. Michelin is just another word to them. They've been to a lot of them. What's going on today in food?
Well, I notice, especially now, a lot of the people that are going out traveling, they like the quality of the items that are on the dish. So you can keep it simple, but have the highest quality items that you can get. I notice that is the trend right now because, maybe 10 years ago, a lot of chefs were overcomplicating dishes. They may look good, but you can never taste the star of the dish. So I think one of the biggest culinary trends right now is simple quality ingredients that go well together and eye appeal, and all the flavors just go together perfectly without overcomplicating anything or adding any like additives where you can make like the caviars, like that was a trend for a little while. So it's just simple quality ingredients that you can taste the difference.
Yeah. I was actually looking at your presentations and they're almost triangular. You have your protein, whatever that may be. You have your starch, which starch is not a pretty word, but your starches are very pretty. They're little potatoes or they're jasmine rice or whatever the starch may be. And then you've got, of course, your vegetables. So it's almost, the perfect triangular dish, but each one is splendid. And I think that's one of the things you're looking at. The other thing is, of course, we're ageless travelers. So you already mentioned vegan. A lot of people are vegetarians. They may not be vegan, but they're vegetarian. What do you do? What's trending in the vegetarian world?
Well, you're going to look for the high quality, local, organic vegetables, because you can taste the difference. Especially if you're vegetarian or vegan, you can taste the difference between, let's say, a baby carrots that are purchased at like the supermarket compared to baby carrots that are gotten directly from an organic farm. Just like when you get a tomato out of your garden, it's going to taste completely different than a tomato that you're going to get from the supermarket. So the produce that we get is ripe when it's picked. It's not traveling far. It's ready to be eaten that day, that night. And you can taste that big difference, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan, when that's something that you consume every day.
So important. And now this is a question that I did not prepare you for specifically. So it's a little surprise question. There was a time that if you wanted to have a good restaurant, you had to say it was something European. This is my French restaurant. It's my Italian. here's a question. Is, in your opinion, there really such a thing as California cuisine? And if so, what is it?
Well, I guess there is a California cuisine because it has influences from all over the world. Like I'm French and Italian trained, so there's a lot of Italian influences in my food, but it may not technically be an Italian dish. California is, one of the farm capitals of the world. So we got so many different items that grow very well here. So yeah, California cuisine is fresh produce and different influences from all over the world that you can combine, because sometimes you can get a French influence and an Asian influence and you combine them together and it goes very well together.
Yeah, so this fusion type of cuisine we can call the California cuisine because jokes are made. I'm from New York City, and my friends say, "What do you eat there? Maybe we'll go and share a salad," because they have the idea that we just eat very little and not much, and nothing is really great. It's not New York City, but the heaviness isn't there. That's true too. Now, the cuisine is light. Now, is that part of the cooking, or is it the selection of the ingredients, or is it the recipe?
It's all of the above. I mean, the ingredients make a big part. And with my style of food, I like that lightness because then you don't get that overcomplication of a sauce that might overpower the items that you have. Because you don't want to, get the best quality ingredients that you can, and then you just cover it with some sauce that you can't even, taste, the items on the dish anymore. So you want to have that lighter fare just so that you can see that the quality of the type of food you're eating.
John Fritsch is being interviewed while he is actually at the restaurant. He tried to hide away, right? He tried to hide away so it wouldn't be so noisy. And we could hear we're hearing it, what's going on, preparation, eating. It's really, actually, it's delightful. So this has been real for you. So now let's just talk about you personally. You mentioned a couple of things about your background, Italian food, and French food as well. What's your background, and what's it like to be responsible for all of this?
Well, I started in high school. I started cooking. I had 3 cooking jobs at one time in high school, and then I actually went to school to be a dietitian. But that wasn't as fun as being in a kitchen with the high energy and things like that. So that's what I decided to keep on doing. And then I was already sous chef in Hollywood for places that did events like for the Italian consulate and stuff like that. So when I was in intro of culinary school, I went to the California School of Culinary Arts, the Le Cordon Bleu program that was in Pasadena. And when I was in intro, I was already sous chef. So I'm already doing my orders during break, during class. And I went there to fine tune my knowledge of recipes from all over the world and to be able to be more creative in the things I can do.
Now, this is a big responsibility for a lot of reasons. For those who don't know, haven't been there, the tramway is an essential part of Palm Springs to begin with. People come here from all over the world to go to these climate zones, to hike. I saw delegations of people from Asia when I was there just recently. Not to mention that our hiking club at the Coachella Valley has over 600 people going there. And that's just a few locals compared to how many people come there. So when you're a destination restaurant, it's a little different than if you are, let's say, in Paris on a street with 80 different restaurants, or Souvlaki Street in Greece. You really have to toe that mark. How's it feeling to you to be responsible for this? Because if those restaurants aren't good, there are big impacts on tourism all the way down the line.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a big part of why I'm here. And I did start here as executive chef for another company that was here. And I became the GM. And then I took it over after that because being a family-owned business, I'm able to cherry pick. I don't want a tourist trap type of restaurant. This restaurant up here is part of the tramway experience that I want people to take with them. So not only were the views fantastic, the hiking fantastic, the cocktails fantastic, but the food, they're going to remember and talk about the food. So when you're out back home, wherever you're from, you're telling people about how they have to go to the tram and not just go up the tram and look at the views, but come up the tram, look at the views, enjoy a high-quality meal, and something that you'll talk about forever.
You're a mild-mannered guy, but I have to say, when you say tourist trap, you said it 3 times already.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a catch in your voice. It's not pleasant to you, those words. What does that mean to you? That obviously is deep inside you that you don't want a tourist trap.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
I don't want people to feel like they're going somewhere and they're just going to come here and have the view, but then the food's just Like if you go to some places, they're just there because they know people are going to eat there. Because it's kind of like
They're trapped.
And they're trapped. I mean, you're literally on a mountain.
Where are you going? Right.
Yeah.
And they can charge any amount of money for very poor food.
Yeah, and our prices are very fair. And they're still a lot better than many of the hotels that are down there in the valley that don't have to pay to bring everything up 8,000 feet up up a tramway. So it's part of the experience, and I keep everything fair. That's why I do seasonal menus, because the cost can be lower, the quality of the food is better. So it's just a better all-around menu when you can do that. And it is part of the experience. It's part of the tramway experience, and that's the experience is the whole. You need to leave the tramway and just feel like that was a great experience that you're going to tell everyone about. And I like being a part of that because it's my name, my reputation, as far as the restaurants go.
Well, you're doing a fabulous job. And what you just said reminds me to remind everyone else, if you're going far afield to a place for culinary adventures, that's one thing. If you live in an area which has a culinary adventure, as this does, many people who are listening do, it's very important that the food change seasonally. Otherwise, why go back? You've already been there. So this gives you a real incentive to go up the tramway, not only for its own beauty and for your walking or your biophilia, they call it, when it comes to older adults being close to nature, but also to taste the new menu. So around how often do you change your menu?
Usually every quarter.
Every quarter, so it's really seasonal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've been speaking with John Fritsch. He is the owner of Elevated Experiences. He is the executive chef and manager of Peaks, of Pines Café, of Lookout Lounge, and all these places are part and parcel of the adventure of going up the tramway. When we come back, we were going to be speaking about a particular farm called the Aziz Farm, which I would say John knows. It's in Indio, not too far from Palm Springs, one of the other desert cities. And it is one of the purveyors of the fresh foods that John is talking about. It could be one of the places that he gets his vegetables or fruits, but it's a whole other culinary agricultural experience called agri-travel. So don't you guys go anywhere. And thank you, John, very much. Of course, we're going to have on our show notes how to reach you, the hours of the restaurants, all three of them, how to make reservations, and of course, the tramway itself. Thank you, John.
Great, thanks. Come on up for an adventure.
If you've been thinking about a cruise, I've definitely got you covered with Cruises It. Now, we have just become affiliated with them. And who are they? Well, Cruises It is the top agency for all the main cruise lines and some of the less known cruise lines as well. Cruises It has access to booking space that's been open years in advance, so you can get the best cabins. That's just number one. But they also make the prices lower. The cruise lines give Cruises It their own exclusive agency discounts. And if you're not from the cruise line, they have their own agency discounts that would apply as well. So you get both any discounts you would normally get on the cruise line, plus additional discounts that are given exclusively to Cruises It because they bring in so much business. On top of all those discount perks, when you book with them, you get the best rate guaranteed. And this is because Cruise Fare Watch system takes place. Now, what Cruises It does is it tracks the pricing until the final payment date. So you keep in mind that to get the best rate guaranteed, you have to use my site. We have affiliated with them specifically. I sat down, I met with them in Tucson, Arizona. I met with Marianne Weather. We're now become good friends. She gave me a direct line, not only a link, which you can certainly use right away, but if you have questions, even a specific phone number. Cruises It offers this not just to anyone that is one of our followers, but if you have friends and family, you can bring them in too. So just take a look at the show notes and you will see our dedicated phone line and our dedicated link. Happy sailing. We're delving today into something brand new. Some people never even heard of the term agritourism. Yes, you can visit a farm for fun. Now, let me just rattle a couple of these off that I've done so you know exactly what I mean. I've picked tea in China. Yes, I really did that. Coffee beans in Brazil, rice in Vietnam. I even plowed with a yak in Cambodia, picked fruit in Australia. But now we are going much closer to home, particularly my home, which is the great state of California, where I had the pleasure of going to Aziz Farms for a wonderful touristic day. And then remember, I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know any of this stuff about date farming, fresh farming, discussions, organic, not organic. And there was a terrific teacher, and I glommed right onto her. Her name is Ellen Way. She is the owner of Sanders Way Ranch. She's a partner in Primetime International, and she was the past state president of California Women for Agriculture and a lot more. You'll see that all in the show notes, and you'll see how you can actually visit a farm as a tourist. So thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. I love talking about agriculture as a tourist activity, and California is filled with it. So
it's beautiful. But I love the little story you told us before the show started about your trip to Scotland. Explain that to us.
Yes, 2 weeks ago, I went to Scotland for the first time in my life. It's a beautiful country, and I needed to see a Highland cow because they are just the most adorable things. And when you get to Scotland, you can buy them on everything from a napkin to a keyring because they are really promoting the cow. So my daughter and I drove about 4 hours up to this farm, and we found out that if we paid $15, this woman would come and pick us up and take us to her 9th generation farm. It has been in her family for literally hundreds of years, which was amazing. And she and her brother, who is a firefighter, are trying to keep this hillside farm alive. And it overlooks Lake Ness. It's beautiful, Ness, as they say. So when I got to the farm, I said to her, "Oh, is there a lot of agritourism in this area?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know what that term means." And I said, "Oh, this is what you're doing. You're bringing people onto your farm to show them what you do." And she said, "Oh, we did this to save the farm. Really, we bring so many people up here. It has really helped us to pay the bills." So she was doing it out of necessity. But I bring this up because I think it is really important for farmers to teach people about how they're growing food for them. Consumers today are very educated and they want to know answers. And if you don't give them the answers, they're going to Google them and find them themselves. And there's plenty of people out there who are not giving real answers. I give a tour every year to a group of bloggers, food bloggers. And it was funny. The first year I did it, I didn't even know what that was. But really, these are people who are out in California writing about agriculture, and they don't come from agriculture. So we've gotten wise, and we invite them out to actually see a farm so that they can write from firsthand experience. And so I think as farmers, we're wising up to that. And even if you've gone wine tasting in California, that's agritourism.
Absolutely.
Coming onto the property and seeing how we take care and grow the food. We want you to come out and see it and enjoy it.
Yeah. So now that you know that there are many different opportunities, but let's take a look at the one that I experienced and loved so much. Now, remember, it's almost like for those of you who love homes, you know that mansions and stately homes are very difficult to maintain. So today, even a duke or an earl might open their home and you go visit the grand homes that you read about in books and novels. Well, farm agribiz, let's say, is also open for that now today, so that people are getting an extra income. But you're seeing something that you've never seen or experienced in any other way, and that is farming. Now, Aziz farming is particularly interesting here because it's a date farm. And it does many other things as well. It's an experimental farm. A lot of things are going on there. So let us say we go out there and we bring a group. We want to see what's going on. What are some of the experiences we have at Aziz Farm?
Okay, I'd love to tell you about that. So 2 years ago, I met Mark Tadros, who's the owner of the Pack House at Aziz Farms, is the whole title of it. He is the son of an Egyptian immigrant who came here and learned how to farm date. Mark got interested in the culinary world and became a chef. So he's this fabulous amalgamation of a farmer because he's a chef. He put this all together, and he and his wife bought 10 acres in Coachella. He farms part of the land, and that produce goes to the local schools. He sells it to them and to local restaurants. Some chefs really love to come out and pick up a box of produce that they know was just picked an hour ago. Then he beautified this property so that people can rent this property for weddings, quinceañeras. In fact, one year he rented it to a group that was doing a party for Coachella Fest, and it was for Bad Bunny, and they took over the whole property and had this huge party on it. And the best part was they sailed a hot air balloon above the farm, and they played a Bad Bunny concert from the side of the balloon. So literally anything can be done on this property. He's going to have over 5,000 kids come through his farm in a summer camp so that parents can work. The school district brings the kids out. They spend the day on the farm. And that way the parents know that they're in a safe environment when school's out.
Now, of course, one of the things that you can do when you go to Aziz Farms is you can taste the fresh foods, and they actually are cut right there. And you do taste the difference between something, let's say a cucumber or a squash that you might have bought in the supermarket from perhaps another country, perhaps from the USA, but it's still bought in a supermarket instead of right from the ground. So that's a huge and wonderful experience. And maybe it does help kids if you bring your child or your grandchild to the farm to appreciate vegetables a lot more. Now, one of the other things, I think one of the great assets of Aziz Farm is Tedros, who, as you said, is from Alexandria, actually. And we had a long discussion about Alexandria, Egypt, because it's one of my favorite cities. And we really enjoy talking with each other. But of course, he is an old school trained on the ground farmer. So
Yes.
You get a wonderful lecture on how dates grow, the differences between dates, and you see the packing. So one of the highlights of visiting any farm is what happens after it's picked. Explain a little bit about the packing experience that people will have when they go to Aziz Farm.
Yes. So the Tadroses have dates on another property. And when harvest starts, which harvest for dates here starts in August and goes through November, they'll bring all those dates to the pack house. And really, there isn't much done to a date. We make sure it's clean and we sort it for size, and it goes in a box, and you're really eating it right off the tree, honestly. And there's just, the date has incredible shelf life. I say you can ship it around the world 3 times and it would still remain fresh, but it's unique. And what I love about Tadros is that's the story about farm teaching, right? He was not a farmer. I try to encourage young people that you don't have to come from a farm to learn how to farm. And so maybe that will become more of an interest amongst kids who go to school and want to learn about agriculture. But we welcome people to come out to the pack house for sure.
Going to farming presentations like yours is a wonderful grandparent trip.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are thinking, gee, I've got a day with the kids, take a look at your local patch, your local farming guides. You know, even in the great state of New Jersey, which we do call ourselves a garden state, let's face it. But where are the gardens? People don't think about us that way. There's plenty of them. There's plenty of farms that you could go to, and not only just at Halloween because they have the pumpkins, but any time of year. So before we leave this segment, you do always mention that there are many farms and many things to see in California that's agriculturally related if you're a tourist. Tell us about some of the others that you think we may be able to access in addition to Aziz Farms, which is a great experience in itself.
I mean, from the north of California, there are actually cattle ranches that you can stay on, and you can watch cattle being raised, moving down into the wine country. And then there's lavender visits. I mean, throughout all of California, in Riverside County, where we are, we call it the Ag Trail. And you can go to the county's website and it will give you this trail map of the places that you can visit. Much of it is wine in the Temecula region, but you'd be surprised of how many creative things people are doing to get people to stop. And I agree. What a great opportunity for parents or grandparents to take their grandkids out and have an experience and also learn something at the same time.
Well, we so much thank you, and we will have in the show notes not only how to visit Aziz Farm, but we will also have that county agra trail. There's agra trails in England also, and also, of course, throughout Italy. I must say, though, and you all know me, guys, that I went on the Prosecco Trail in Italy. It was wonderful. I'm sure I don't quite remember it. Along the way, I had a taste of this and a taste of that. But all of this is part of agricultural tourism. We think only of wine routes, but there's a lot more to it, although those are not to be sneezed at, and a wonderful walking tour throughout Alsace-Lorraine, through the wineries, 10 miles each day. And I had a wonderful time doing that. So, Ellen, thank you for raising our consciousness about visiting small farms as a tourist, understanding more about agriculture. And we certainly will be visiting again, because every time I have a friend coming, I want them to see Aziz Farms. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, we've had a wonderful time listening to chefs today, listening to how we integrate our culinary experiences as tourists with our experiences on the farm. And remember, we are the Ageless Traveler with a salon on Facebook for you to join. We have a free newsletter. Get all of our support. It's always free. Go to agelesstraveler.com and never stop traveling.